Let's start recording. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. This is the regularly scheduled Board of Select meeting of the town of New Canaan, Tuesday, March 9, 8:30 a.m. And first item on our agenda, this is a virtual meeting via Zoom. And first item on our agenda are the minutes for the last meeting on February 23. Do we have any comments or corrections on the minutes? No?
Not here.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
That was both minutes, right, Kevin?
both minutes.
Right, the regular meeting and the special meeting?
Well, Tucker, did we keep minutes for the special meeting was an executive session, so the why don't we we'll approve those minutes at the next meeting. It was basically
They're both on the they're both up actually on the agenda and on the portal.
not on my agenda that Pam sent this morning.
Yeah, approval of the meeting for the regular meeting and the special meeting, both held February 13th.
February 23rd. The special meeting was the parking.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking about the other special meeting. Yeah. Okay, you're right.
Yeah. We had two meetings that day, 2:30 in the afternoon.
Right.
Anyway, Tucker, can the minutes reflect?
Yes. If
That
someone
we,
wants to make a motion for both of them, that's fine.
The motion was for both of them, and they're both approved.
Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, again, this is a Zoom meeting, virtual meeting, so comments will only be by email sent to bosdistribution@buchananct.gov. And Tucker will watch for any comments by email. We will read them before the end of the meeting. Again, that's bosdistribution@newcanaanct.gov. Next item on the agenda is item 3, New Canaan Nature Center demolition work. Tiger, is this yours?
Yeah, this one's mine and Joe's. Maria, where's Joe's? You standing next to you?
He is just about to jump on. If we want to just give him a second.
Is he in the waiting room? There he is. Morning, Joe.
Good
You good?
morning.
All right, you're
Are you
up.
waiting for me?
Yeah,
Excellent.
we are.
So I'm here today for the Nature Center greenhouse behind the director's house for the demolition. So the Nature Center has plans to repurpose the stone foundation of the greenhouse to expand their community garden. The greenhouse has been vacant for many years and is no longer safe to occupy. Evergreen Environmental performed a pre-renovation inspection and identified asbestos-containing materials such as glazing compounds and caulking, and the structure has lead paint. Fortunately, the glazing and the caulk is less hazardous than other asbestos-containing materials, so dismantling the building will be fairly simple and safe. So where we are in the process right now, the Department of Public Works has applied for the demolition permit. A 824 review determined the plan was consistent with the POCD. Notices were sent as required. The 90-day demolition delay has expired. The Historic Review Committee reviewed at their April 2020 meeting. Connecticut Deep has approved the alternative work practice package and approved the method of demolition. The demolition can be, the permit can be completed once the licensed contractor is hired. The schedule is, hopefully we're working with Bill with the Nature Center to schedule sometime around April 1st. And we received 3 bids. They were all fairly close and consistent with each other. And we would like to recommend to enter into a contract with C&D Services LLC for $27,250 plus a contingency of $2,725 for a total of I'm sorry, let me see, for a total of $29,975. And the funds are currently available. Sorry, that was a mouthful.
Questions, Kathleen or Nick?
Joe, how long will it take? April 1st start? When is it, a week long, 2 weeks? How long is it?
They're thinking it's 5 to 7 days.
Thank you.
And we'd have to coordinate with Bill. I have to nail down that date for the best date for his activities.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I have questions. Nick, do you have any questions?
No, it's a great project. I spoke with the executive director at length last week about their future plans going forward and capital expenditures and such. And this is, I think, the first project that's going to come our way. I think there are a few others that will be in the offing. This is a great project.
Sounds like we're ready to vote on this. I move we approve a request from Public Works to enter into a contract with C&D Services LLC for a total of $29,975, which includes a 10% contingency for abatement and demolition of a former greenhouse at the Nature Center. Second.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor? That's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Repaving of the Nature Center, Tiger.
Okay, this one's mine. So the Nature Center driveway and parking lot are definitely in disrepair, and we're looking to repave both. This spring, we'll be working with Bill Flynn as far as his best times to get in there. There will be a little bit of disturbance, especially because he's only got about a week for spring break, but this will take a little bit longer. So it's basically the repaving of the entire lots, and then putting some curbing around the outside, and redoing the sidewalks on either side of the parking lot to give people better access to either the animal care buildings or the visitor center itself. We went out to bid, and as I mentioned yesterday at our Selectmen's Advisory Committee, this was a very nice package and a very nice set of bids to receive. We received 8 bids back. Some of the contractors we had never worked with before, never received bids from before, some as far as New York. So they came forward, and the 3 contractors that we normally deal with on a rotating basis, so to speak, or on a yearly basis, Grasso, Deering, and FGB were all 3 the low. So it proved that we were working with the right people at the right time. So what we'd like to do is recommend the contract with Grasso Construction, which was the low bidder at $228,695.90. We've added a 15% contingency of $34,300 for a subtotal of $262,995.90. There'll be a purchase of granite curbing. This is a quote of $17,340. We're working with the granite company right now. This number will tweak slightly, but any additional we'll take out of the contingency funds for it, for a total of $280,335.90. The funds are currently available in our parking lot management fund, and we'd like to go forward with the project.
Questions?
Tiger, you said that's going to start, sorry, Nick, it's going to start soon, I guess. And then where are people going to park while the paving is underway?
So right now, the Nature Center is a little underutilized at present, but we'll work on trying to shift parking one way or another. It's for the majority of it's like paving a road. The entire driveway is like paving the road, right? It really gets down to the parking area down below. So we'll push people to one side of the parking lot while we're doing the granite on one side, push them to the other side while we're working on that side, and then come through. Contractor wants to start as soon as possible. We just have to coordinate that timing with Bill. Again, he's got a couple of breaks, but the breaks might not necessarily coincide as well as we would like.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tiger, is this a total reclaim of the parking lot? And
In essence, yeah, we're gonna basically mill down to the base, and then reinstall the pavement, and then we'll be putting in some drainage that Maria and I have looked at in the parking lot itself to then drain off, because as you can see, the topography, everything winds up in the back parking lot, down in the back, and there's a stream that goes in off the back of the parking lot. It's all trying to get there, and it gets stuck in the parking lot itself. That's one of the reasons why the parking lot's suffering. So we'll put in some additional drainage there, or some drainage there since there is none, and get that water away from the site.
Anything further, Nick?
It's in tough shape, right, Tiger? I mean, that's,
Yeah, we were looking to do it last year, and we just it got away from us. So and at that time, even at that time, it was beyond its life. So I think this is a nice, in you know what you mentioned before, that the nature center does have some significant plans going forward, and this will be, you know, part of it, so to speak, to try to, you know, wrap that all in.
As I mentioned yesterday, we're sort of betting that Eversource won't bring gas up Oak Ridge. It's unfortunate. So unless there's any further questions, I move we approve this request from Public Works to enter into a contract with Grasso Construction for a total of 280. Well, actually, the paving is 228, 695.90 from Grasso, and the plus granite from North Carolina Granite for 17,340 for milling, reclaiming, repaving, and other improvements of the parking lot and drive. Do I have a second?
second year.
Further discussion? All in favor? I did have one other question, Tiger. Have we seen any change in the cost of asphalt?
Slight uptick from last year. It's not really it's a cost overall, right? So we're the haul and lay cost, which is the contractor's cost, has gone up. The asphalt itself has probably stayed the same, but their costs have gone up. The interesting thing, we bought granite from North Carolina Granite in November, and then they had a specific unit price for straight pieces, and it came back in 3 months later, and it was $1.55 higher. And I went back to him and said, wait a minute, what's going on? Why can't I get the November price? And as of January 1, price adjustment for all of their staff, you know, was that's when, you know, union raises went in. So price of granite went up by about $1.50 a foot. So that's what we're seeing. And we're seeing also in the smaller items, the milling item went up, all the other items went up just slightly. So there is an uptick in the pricing. We'll see as it pans out for the rest of the year, but this first one, yeah, we did see a slight uptick. I had originally estimated this contract at around 200, and we're at 228. So there's a slight increase there.
Okay, moving on to River Street.
Yes,
Yes,
good
Maria.
morning. How are you? As part of the town's pavement management improvement program, the PMIP, last October, the Board of Selectmen approved the repaving of River Street between Brushy Ridge Road and Strawberry Hill Road. At that time, the work included new concrete sidewalk along the southwestern section of River Street, including crosswalk, sidewalk, and ped ramp work at Summer Street, New Norwalk Road, and Locust Avenue, Brushy Ridge Road. As the lowest bidder, FGB Construction Co. was awarded the contract for pavement work at River Street. And given the success of the first phase of sidewalk work, there have been neighborhood efforts and petitions to extend the new sidewalk to Charles Place. The work could be accomplished under a contract extension with FGB Construction Co. with concrete, sidewalk, and granite installation work totaling $89,600 with a 15% contingency of $13,500 for a total of $103,100, plus the granite material cost of $17,340 for stone from North Carolina Granite Co. for a total project extension cost of $120,440. We recommend that the current paving contract be extended with FGB Construction Co. for the proposed extension of the sidewalk improvements up to Charles Place for the total extension cost of $120,440. The funds are currently available in the PMIP program.
Questions for Maria?
Just one on the
Sure.
contingency estimates. How close did FGB come to the contingency number in the last part of the project?
Do you mean,
Roughly? Do they utilize the full amount that we budget, or is it, are they somewhere in what the estimate is and the top end of the 15% contingency?
We've never exceeded the contingency ever. We run different projects, obviously have different parameters, right? So especially when you're on a sidewalk one, we're in everybody's front lawn, right? So it gets a little bit more difficult to try to match in what's going on, driveways, landscaping, irrigation, you name it, you run into it. We typically run somewhere on average, I think our 7%, 6-7% is about our average there. We haven't, this project hasn't run its full fruition yet, so we can't give you we can't tell you where we are. And a lot of it is built into some of the contingency covers. There's a tolerance on the asphalt as far as we're asking for 2 inches, right? So you calculated at 2 inches. He's allowed to get a 1/2 inch per inch, so he's allowed an extra inch in there. We have to pay for that if it comes in as material. As long as you say normally they're at about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch over, we have to pay for that, and that's where a lot of the contingency runs into, is at that point to cover that extra material.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
and basically any of the unknowns, because when we've actually gone into River Street, we saw that some of the sub-base material wasn't even there. So that allows, that 15% contingency allows for those factors that are uncharted. There's no way of knowing until you actually peel back the pavement.
Right.
River Street was actually built on cobbles. A lot of it was cobbled stone, which one of the reasons why, especially in the shoulders, that's one of the reasons why you saw it fail. And then exactly as Mary said, we can't see it until we peel it back, and then we peel it back and realize what's going on at that time.
Right.
Nick, you okay?
I'm good.
Okay, as described by Maria, this contract totals, actually it was interesting that the granite is the exact same price cost for the nature center.
Maria, sorry, that was asked prior. What it was I got the quote for River at 17,340 for 800 linear feet. It's about 800 feet for the nature center. So I rolled that one in because I hadn't gotten the final quote for it. We'll take in the addition on the contingency for the nature center. It was a comparable quantity, same contractor, same manufacturer, but he missed. He took a day off and missed the quote before we came here. So I apologize.
Okay, anyway, so I move that motion as described by Maria. Do I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor? That's unanimous. Going on
Thank
to, is Mo's getting a new dump truck? Who's getting the dump truck?
Moses is getting a new dump truck. The highway department is looking to, this has been a long process, I have to say. Moses and his men have done an extensive look at the different trucks and truck bodies that are out there and what's being offered and the pricing thereof. This has probably been, I think, a 9-month, 10-month process to try to come forward with this purchase. This was fiscal 21 numbers that came in July 1 available. They've been working with the various suppliers till now. So they received a quote for the purchase of a Western Star 4700 SB for $223,624. There's a trade-in of $7,500 for a total of $216,124. It replaces our number 21 truck, which was a 2003 vintage. So it's 18 years old. At present, we try to roll these about every 15 years. We try to get rid of them and get them out of the fleet and get a new one. So we'd like to go forward with a purchase of this truck with Western Star for a total of $216,124 after the trade-in of $7,500.
Questions?
Tiger, how many dump trucks do we have? And if we have more than one, when's the next one expected to turn over?
That we have one in our budget proposed for this year. With 13, and it's a 15-year life expectancy, and during the off years we try to fill that with loader purchase or something of a larger piece of equipment to try to balance out the capital, requests.
So this is, we have, how many dump trucks do we have of this similar size?
13?
Oh, 13, I'm sorry. Okay, didn't hear you.
No, that's okay.
So these are basically plow trucks.
Yes, yeah, but now they're with an all-season body. We can utilize them year-round. So we've been changing over the fleet. They have an all-season body whereby the spinner is involved inside it, and it can be tucked away along with the track. So it can be tucked away, and then you can utilize it year-round. The truck that we're replacing, or we're asking to be replaced in this year's budget, the proposed one, it's the last one whereby it's basically just a sander body. It can only, in essence, be utilized during the winter. We're trying to, that would be the last one of our fleet to get rid of.
Is the orange paint standard?
No, that's a request. It's a standard for, as far as the MUTCD is concerned, as far as work related. So if you've got signage that's as far as traffic control in a work zone, they're all orange. That's the reason why our trucks are orange. One of the reasons, I should say.
Any more questions, Nick?
No, good.
I move we approve this purchase of a Western Star 4700 SB dump truck for the Highway Department, as described, for a net total of $216,124 after a trade-in of $7,500. Do I have a second?
Second here.
Further discussion? All in favor? Okay, on to the high school track electrical work. Is this Joe?
This is Joe.
Yes. Good morning again. So this work is to provide power to the shed and GFI outlets to the finish lines. Currently, when they have a track and field event, they bring a generator out to the field and they power up their timing devices and their scoreboards. So this work is to pull a feed down to and to the track shed from over next to Lapham, over next to the water tower, and put power and a little bit of lighting inside of the shed, and then to bring power to the start and to the finish lines. Apparently there's two finish lines depending on the wind. Sometimes they run the opposite way. So this work would complete that and get rid of the need for bringing a generator out to the track. So needless to say, the high school athletic department is very supportive of this project. We received two proposals, the lowest being Darien Electric, and we are requesting to enter into a contract for $15,216 plus a contingency of $1,784 for a total of $17,000.
Questions?
So
Kathleen?
I'm certainly supportive of this. I'm a little befuddled as to why this wasn't done when we redid the track in the first place a few years ago.
Yeah, so the conduits were put in place as part of that project, and there was a line item for this work in the project, but in order to get the bleacher project done and the grandstand seating project, those two projects were really tight in the budget, so we didn't want to spend the contingency until those projects were finished. And now that the bleacher project is finished, we can expend the contingency.
Okay.
We're getting down to the end of the account, so we didn't want to kind of double dip, so to speak, have the contingency run into two different projects.
Right.
So once we ran those other projects to fruition, then we could then finalize this last little bit of work.
So is this the only thing that wasn't done on the turf fields and track were the lights for the track itself?
Well, the lights for the track itself were not included in the original budget.
Right.
So, but that was one thing that was contemplated at one point, but it never made its way into the budget. It wasn't supported.
Right.
So that's not in the current plans, lights?
There's no current plans for lights at the track. And the lights at the time were simply for people for walking at night.
Right,
They
right,
weren't for play, so they didn't get a lot of support.
right.
Right, they were for more for participation, utilizing the track at night versus it was not for sports related. In essence, you wouldn't have been able to play a game inside the track with the lighting that was originally contemplated.
How much,
And were there to
And-
be lighting, there would be a need for P&Z approval, I assume?
We would need to go back to P&Z. We got P&Z approval for the down lighting and we had analyses done as far as light trespass, and the lights that we were proposing would not trespass onto Waveney Care, but Waveney Care had some definite concerns as to if we went with higher level athletic lighting. They had some concerns of that, specifically concerns some of their residents, their windows front the track. And while they like to see participation, nighttime participation might be a little bit much at that time.
Right.
how much were the downlights going to cost?
I want to say off the top of my head, I can look it up, but I want to say it was around 150,000 for just the ones that were for walkers.
Well, okay.
Wow.
No further questions? I'm sorry, Kathleen? Are we ready to vote on this? Lost my agenda. So I move that we approve this Department of Public Works request for Darien Electric to install power to the track and field shed plus additional 2 GFI outlets at the track finish line for a total of $17,000, which includes a contingency. Do I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor? Okay, thank you, Joe.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to part-time and full-time employee.
Correct.
Cheryl Jones, good morning.
Good morning. I am here to present Massimo De Frederico. I believe you have his resume on your tablets. He has interviewed in the past with us for a parks position. We really liked him. He did not have his CDL, so we had asked him to go back and get that, which he did. Mosey has a position open. Mosey and I and Dandy sat down and met with him. He has worked in his family's landscaping business since 2012. He has experience in cutting grass, mason work, snow plowing, asphalt work, and we recommend, or I recommend that we bring him in as an equipment operator too, to work under Mosey in the Public Works Department.
Any questions, Kathleen? Nick?
None.
I move we approve this request from Human Resources to hire Massimo De Frederico as an equipment operator 2 for the Highway Department. Do I have a second?
Second year.
Further discussion? All in favor? Okay, thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Mose.
Thank you.
On to tree
Trees.
warden. Trees.
So the tree warden went out for his for bid February 11th. This was 12 separate locations, 26 trees to be removed, 1 to be pruned. We received 3 bids back. The low 2 were very, very tight, a little over $500, $522, I think. Difference separating the 2. Mill River Tree was the low bidder at $20,083. And I would like to recommend the contract be awarded to Mill River for this work.
Questions, Kathleen? Nick?
None.
None here.
I do have a question. Tiger, are we going to get to those broken trees or the remnants of old trees along Waveney's roads?
Bob is working on that now. Yeah, and we're also working with Planet New Canaan and the Conservation Commission. Robin Bates Mason got approval for matching grant for trees to be planted. She's going out with donations now, so it's a matching grant in the hopes that we can then replant some of the trees in and around Waveney. Had discussions with Bob as to the type and the locations and such to go forward. So as we start to take them down, we can start to replace them, especially in our parks. and in other areas that might have lost significant amount of trees due to storm damage and what have you.
Okay, I move we approve this request from the tree warden for $20,083 for Mill River Tree Services for a round of removal, pruning, and stump removal of various trees. Do I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. Back
Thank you very much.
to, I guess this is just, we realized that we Mike Morrow on the board, on the town council is on the public safety subcommittee for town council. And we thought the police department building committee could use another member representing town council. And so therefore I move we appoint Michael Morrow to the New Canaan Police Department Building Committee. Any questions?
Great addition. Kevin, what's the timing of the reports from the consultants that we've hired, 2 separate consultants on the,
They wanted 12 weeks. I try to get them down to 8 weeks, but so it looks like the end of May, we'll probably March, April, May, into early June. Have reports back from both architects.
and will they make a recommendation? Each one with respect to the current building, and then.
Well, I hope that well, actually, I should say, the Brian Humes is going to evaluate 3 possibilities for South Avenue. Reconstructing, renovating the current building. So we have essentially the same police department with a lot of new interior.
Right.
Possibly demolishing that building and putting up a brand new building there, or possibly, and maybe unlikely, but possibly building a new building behind the current building and repurposing the current building. So that's sort of what he's been asked to do. So that will be the benchmark against which will compare whether we need, what the cost of those will be, and whether or not a better choice might be to build a new building elsewhere and dispose of that building to a developer who would perhaps make it into some housing that would be, it's a great location for both the police department and housing. So the evaluation is going to be, what do those options cost, and could we do something at a different location? Now we took a tour last week of the 10 or 12 locations, that including some private properties, with the other architect, Chuck Booz of Castle Booz, and that's going to be more of a winnowing down of do we have 2 or 3 locations that would work, and if we wanted to turn to building a new building elsewhere. So
Did you say 12 locations?
yeah, we really thought outside the box, and some of which are not,
Right.
and some of which are quickly being eliminated. I mean, they have problems, either wet, or they're too many issues that so. But there's several locations in town that could work. So, but whether the architects are going to help the staff winnow down other locations, and the committee will review the options of South Avenue. But at the end of the day, the town bodies are going to make the decision which way to go, both the selectmen and then the town council. And to some extent, the Board of Finance, to the extent it's obviously going to be a money issue. So,
But the expectation is the police building committee will come up with a recommendation as to stay in South Avenue in some capacity or move to a different location.
I don't know that, Nick, yet. But let's see what the options are for South Avenue, and then I would think the town bodies are going to decide. You got 2 or 3 options to South Avenue. What do they cost? These are the options for another location, and which way should we go? I don't know that the building committee. A building committee normally oversees a project. This is unusual in the sense that we're trying to decide where to put it.
Right.
I think that's more of a town body decision than a building committee. But we can decide that when we get down to May and June and see where we are.
Okay.
I mean, again, I've said before, I really like the idea of a new building. Repurposing that 100-year-old building is a challenge, even though the location is great.
But I can't think of a location for a police department than where it is today, right? You're literally seconds from downtown. You're
Well, that's why I think
a minute from 3 of our schools, and you're close to the Merritt Parkway where a lot of activity takes place. It's not to say that I'm not open to another location. I just think that where it is a pretty darn good spot.
That's why at the end of the day, Nick, I'm not sure whether
Right.
like the selectmen may make a recommendation and the town council makes a different. I don't know how we're going to decide. But let's see what the options are. Maybe one will become obvious.
I'm absolutely open to seeing options.
So did we vote on Mike Morrow?
No, we haven't. And I certainly support Mike being appointed. Is there a list of all the committee members on our website? Is that, will we be adding any new?
Pam is nodding her head.
Okay, and
I don't know that we need any more. I think we got a good group. I mean, I still would like a contractor, not a developer, a contractor to step forward to be co-chairman with Bill Walber. Because when we do get into a phase of building, Bill's a great guy on a lot of things, but he's not as detailed in terms of a building project as a contractor would be.
Yeah,
And
we need a contract.
we have some good people on that committee who very well may, the problem is a number of people on the committee have done building committees before, but they're sort of semi-retired or retired, and they kind of aren't necessarily going to be in New Canaan. You want someone who's going to be on site throughout the building project.
Right.
thank you.
So with that, I would ask for a vote on Mike Morrow's addition to the building committee. I move that.
Right, we need a second.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Lost my agenda here again.
Contract review.
Contract review, any? Any comments about the contracts on the agenda, this one emergency contract that we had to do for the potting shed? Unfortunately, yes, Kathleen, go ahead.
Just one question on the food scrap recycling, the 3,500, is that a quarterly fee or is that annual?
We pay, it's approximately $6,000 for the year. For him,
Okay.
$6,700 was what we had estimated. We're paying him, in essence, he charges us weekly for the work. It's a $75 pickup for him to come to the station, and then $5 per toter that has material in it. So we've got 8 toters right now.
Mhm.
So you're looking at $115 per pull each time he comes. We've been asking for once a week. During the summer, we'll see what the usage is, and we might go to 2 only because higher temperatures in the summer and and food scraps, things of that nature. But we estimated originally around $6,700 for the year.
Okay, so this is just the first 3
This
months?
is the first, yeah, this is since late October, November date. And this is also being funded through a grant from Sustainable CT that Robin Bates Mason got us with Planet New Canaan. So that money, that $6,700 has already been deposited into the town's coffers. So we're working off of that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Nothing further on contracts? I move on to selectmen's comments. I hope you heard my out-call last night. Our numbers are obviously very good, trending back in the right direction. The fact that we had 2 weeks of 0 positives with our community testing was pretty good. The Vaccination of the school personnel, both public and private, is going forward well. We have 600 doses tomorrow to administer to our Buchanan teachers and I think country schools in there tomorrow as well. And obviously 55 and older, Walgreens in New Canaan is now administering vaccines, and I think CVS plans to add it this week. So there's a lot of availability. Stanford Hospital in particular has availability so for anyone over 55 to 64, you need to use VAMS or the direct registration on Stanford Hospital. Some of the pharmacies have their own direct registrations, but there's plenty of opportunities out there to get vaccinated in that age bracket. And we hope to be back to Lapham doing vaccinations for the public by the end of the month. I neglected, we do have community testing continuing at Lapham 3 days a week, as I said, and I did neglect to remind people to continue to wear masks and social distance, and that will continue. And the governor obviously has announced some good news about reopenings. We'll talk about more of that next week, the next couple weeks. We did replace the barriers for outdoor dining, which is going to be important because, you know, although it's 100% capacity, it's still social distancing, which means the restaurants can't get their indoor capacity that they otherwise would have. And we may have to, the governor's orders are, I guess, scheduled to expire on April 9th. So that we may have to do some commission work to get some of these things going forward beyond April 9th. But anyway, any questions about the COVID status? I don't think I have anything else. Kathleen or Nick, do you want to make any comments?
I don't
Nothing
think
here.
Nick?
Nothing here.
So it's 9:12. I move we adjourn and meet again in 2 weeks.
Second here.
All right, have a
Thank
good
you.
day. Have a good week, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.